Hey, I'm Mike.
I'm Jackson.
Ryan.
I'm Cash.
And today we're going to be discussing some fun topics. We're going to start off with spirituality versus religion. Ryan, you got anything on that?
So I feel like the two go hand in hand with each other. It's kind of like a yin and yang relationship. But I feel like a big difference that we have that we've talked about like in previous groups and everything too is religion is it seems narrow focused and there's strict rules to follow and like a specific pattern, whereas like spirituality is very open-ended, very broad, which could be a lot of different things to each person. But if someone's following a particular religion too, then that could be their sense of spirituality and everything too. So I guess it kind of boils down to like what is important to you and what speaks to you as an individual, what makes you feel like you're connected to a higher source or a higher being or intelligence or not. If you're, on the far end of it, like atheist and you have no belief in anything higher.
Maybe for some people they need more structure like religion, but for some people they can deal with like the free-flowing life of spirituality and practicing things when they want to versus every day doing something at 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 5 p.m., fasting on these days of the week versus on spirituality, more choose your own course, do it when you want to, if you want to.
But where do we find benefit in that too then? Because isn't that just kind of like doing whatever the fuck you want?
Yeah, for sure.
So at what point are we incorporating it like to be spiritual and everything too then? Like, sometimes meditate.
Intent? Wouldn't that be intent?
The intent behind it?
Intent behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the love force. I mean, isn't that the driving force that drives us towards all of it, regardless of spirituality or religion? The intent, going back to kind of what you were just saying, the structure of it, it doesn't have to be structured as long as the intent is there.
Well, and again, that's open-ended. So it's like if we know the intent of a Buddhist would be to reach nirvana and have a form of enlightenment. The intent of Christians is to reach the kingdom of heaven and be with God, and so on and so forth. I can't think of like what the Muslim heaven is called or whatever, but same idea. So if they all have a direct like goal or focus or anything to them, that could be anything for someone that's just like, oh, I'm spiritual. Yeah. Which is not to knock on something, because that's what I would say. For myself, if I'm talking about those things, like I don't have a particular religion that I affiliate myself with. I think there's something called, and I could be wrong, which shows how little I know about it, but omnism, I think, which is like the belief that no particular religion is right, but you find value in all of them, which I would say I agree with. I found some great stuff in Christianity and some Bible verses that really resonate with me. A lot of far Eastern religions like Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism, and all that stuff has given me a lot of wisdom and insight, the way I view the world. And then I feel like from there you could even take in philosophy. I really like Stoicism and a lot of the stuff that like Greeks and Romans had, because I mean philosophy kind of ties hand in hand with religion. Religion is like an organized practice, I guess. We could look up the exact definition of it, where philosophy is just like thinking, the organized thinking.
Yeah. I think for me, the difference between religion and spirituality, kind of what we started with, is for me, religion feels like power and control. It feels like politics before politics were politics. Yeah.
Well, you can look at like the Crusades and shit like that, or how many wars have been fought as religious wars. Mm-hmm. We've seen in our modern times. The stuff in the Middle East and everything. Look at the Israeli-Pakistan conflict, stuff like that. And then it's like, well, how fucking peaceful is this stuff too, if it's causing all these wars and conflicts and everything like that?
I kind of want to bounce back to what you said about Buddhism. Like the goal is to reach nirvana, or for like Christians, it's to reach the kingdom of heaven. Isn't that kind of a trap? To think that like you can't have it here and now. Yeah. Like the goal is to get there and to attain it versus like you could have it here at your disposal, And
that's the interesting thing with Buddhism, is because like, while that might be a goal of it, doesn't, from what I understand, doesn't having a goal like to attain in Buddhism, like, isn't that counterintuitive? Because it's to be present, to be here now, and like
to be mindless.
Yeah. And if I'm seeking enlightenment, then I'm seeking something and I have attachment towards something and everything, as opposed to releasing that and just existing and being. So it's like,
Which is very ego-driven, if you think about it.
Being is, or
no,
seeking?
No, seeking.
Yeah, 100%. Which is why I said, like, I think there's, and as far as the organization standpoint, the technicalities, I should probably dive deeper into Buddhism. It's very interesting to me. And I like I said, I get most of my like wisdom or the stuff that resonates with me the best from the Eastern type stuff like that. So as far as seeing the specifics of it and what they believe in and everything, I can't think of what it's called. There's like there's like a list. I think it's 7 things for Buddhism. I'd have to look it up. Like, I'm not as educated in the formal parts of it as far as like I've read books where it has bits and pieces of this, or like this resonates with me. Like the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra is great. The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz is great.
7 Hermetic Principles.
I haven't read that one.
It's really good.
Hermeticism is interesting though too. Like, well, again, this like goes back. If you're open-minded enough, you can kind of pull value from everything. You know, I'm not particularly knowledgeable on Islam or anything like that, but I'm sure I could find some value in it somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, do you pick and choose out of each one because you find information out of certain ones not to be true, or just because you don't resonate with it?
Well, I would say to be true is more like, does it resonate with me or not? If something's resonating with me, like if like we talk about non-attachment in some of the Eastern principles and everything, or Taoism talks about the yin and yang of everything too. And it's like, I see that yin and yang, I resonate with that. I see the sun and the moon and the man and the woman and the ocean and the sky and all that shit, you know? So it's like, if that resonates with me, then I can choose to like hold on to that. Hold the gold and release, you know, whatever you don't need from it.
I feel like a lot of people too, when they're reading like religious scripture or any kind of religious book, like people just take it for what it is. Like, oh wow, this says Jesus walked. It's
like literally.
It's literally everything in all the religious books is metaphorical, and if you like read them all, they pretty much all allude to the same principles typically.
With Christianity, right? Isn't it a sin to
do everything? Pretty much.
But from my understanding, it's frowned upon to pray in groups.
Is it?
I don't know.
I didn't know that was a
No,
thing.
because that's why they have fellowship. They call that fellowship. Like church. You go to church on Wednesday evening or something.
It weirds me out that it's called worship, though.
Worship.
I'm like, I don't know if I want to worship anything. Well, not just that, but it's like praise, or like think of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag. It's like, whoa.
Every day.
Yeah. Like that's some indoctrinating shit. Yeah, they start you that in kindergarten, and you're like, fuck yeah. And don't get me wrong, I love my country. Not my government, but I love my country. Yeah. But it's like that's indoctrination starting at 5 years old. That's wild.
Yeah, for real. But I don't know that it's bad to pray with groups of people in Christianity.
What about, isn't it a sin to, if you don't know anything, you're completely oblivious to God, right? Mm-hmm. Or into Christianity. So you would be allowed to go through the gates of heaven, right?
You're saying like if there was some random tribe that was like removed from society and had never heard of anything?
Yeah. So, I mean, they would just, they didn't have it. They didn't know any sins. They didn't know that they were sinning because they didn't know about God.
Yeah.
Right. So now, what about these Christians that are actually pursuing people, saying, "Believe in God"? You know, come to church with us. Now you're introducing something to these people.
Yeah, I see your point. So now you're making them vulnerable.
Yes.
Essentially.
Well, so would that could kind of be like Adam leaving the Garden of Eden and eating the apple, because it's like he was completely unaware of anything outside of it and everything before he ate the fruit. Mm-hmm. And fucking Eve, man.
Yeah, God, man. Feminism.
Not women, man. But Eve convinced him to eat the apple or whatever, and it was from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and now suddenly it was shameful to be naked and not clothed, and he was aware of flaws and stuff like that, and
which is kind of what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like if that tribe was like Adam and it was never aware of everything until that religion came in, which in this case would be the serpent from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then made them aware that they were sinning or doing wrong or whatever too. But it's like, shit, in that case, the church or the disciple would be the same serpent that fucked over Adam and Eve.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and with me, as far as like my spiritual journey, I don't necessarily look at anything as a sin unless the intent to sin, if that makes sense.
I would disagree with that.
Okay.
Because like,
well, let me explain what I mean.
Okay.
And then you can rebuttal to that. So if I'm driving down a road, just driving down a road, and a bike pulls out in front of me and I hit that person, they die. I'm innocent of killing that person. If I'm driving down the road, a bike pulls out in front of me and I purposefully run that motherfucker over because I can't stand those fuckers on the road, I did that on purpose, right? So that's a sin. That's a sin. So go ahead, Ryan.
So, well, think of like in terms of adultery or something too, because then it's like, well, that might not actually be a good argument, because if you do commit on that, then it's like you're aware of what you're doing, even if you're like, I know this is bad and everything, but like you're still going forth and acting and everything, unless like, someone like pinned you down and whatever. But
Newton's third law: every action has an equal reaction.
Yeah.
So no matter what you do, everything comes around, goes around. I mean, intent does play into it though. But if you drop an apple, drop an apple on the ground pushes back just as hard as the apple pushes on the ground.
Yeah. Well, but not everything should be looked at as necessarily a sin or not.
So
it just is.
What about military members? And then if they're,
I think
committing murder, but they were doing their job,
and
everything too. But it's like, well, what if you just shot a 10-year-old kid because it was your order and everything too? But then in the eyes of God, like, that is murder.
Yeah. And that's where it becomes really, the sticky. Water becomes murky.
Yeah.
It really does. Where your karmic debt starts to build up. That's why humans have so much karmic debt built up.
Yeah. Well, and that's why
that brings me back to something I wanted to ask too, because when he had said he believes in reincarnation, and I said, do you feel like we can escape that? And you were nodding too. What do you feel like escaping the samsara wheel and everything, what do you feel like is outside of that?
I feel like it's a collective thing. I feel like we do reincarnate. I feel like some people that are here reincarnated right now are like light workers, in that they chose to come here to help collectively wake up humans. I think it is a choice for some people to come back here because that's how much they love and care about helping other people. But like, we've been doing fucked up shit for thousands of years here. We've fucked up the earth so bad. We fucked up each other so bad. Like, we have a collective human karmic debt to pay off. Mm-hmm. But like, you can get past your own karmic debt, and I feel like in that sense you can liberate yourself. But some people are filled with so much love and want to help other people so much that they consciously make the choice to come back here to help other people and help other people, because you can escape your own thing, but in the end we are all one and we're all collective. So someone who lives out of pure love and wants to help other people is going to reincarnate and try to help everyone realize and awaken. It's kind of how I think of it.
Yeah.
So you said to wake up and come back and wake people up to what?
To the realization that love wins, to the realization that a lot of the things going, I feel like the first step of awakening is kind of realizing the corruptness around you before you kind of dive into yourself. That's how it happened for me. Some people really wake up to themselves first about like the good and bad inside them. But for me, it was like, wow, like all my food is genetically modified. Wow, there's fluoride in my water. Wow, what are they spraying in the air every day?
Dude,
like
the first time,
it's like
the first time I did DMT, I was so mind blown by not only like just the whole experience of it, but also how smart the evil or dark forces of it all are. I was like,
it's so deep.
Yeah, and you can almost like, it's fucked up. You can almost respect it because of like how intricate and everything it is. You're like, wow, they've been running this shit like clockwork for however long. Like,
is it evil years. Or is it just the yang to the yin?
I think it's that.
Well, it's part
because
of
like you were saying
too.
earlier, it just is.
Yeah.
Right. And like the Taoists see that like there's no good, there's no bad, there just is. It's like that gray line between the yin and the yang.
Yeah. I try to look at it like in myself too, like because I can see bad and evil in the world, and like sometimes I have thoughts and I'm like, dude, that's not good. Like everyone has bad inside them too. It's just up to you to make the conscious choice to decide what you want to act on, because everyone has good and bad thoughts that go through their head. No one can say that they don't, So people don't want the best for other people sometimes. People don't want other, but you have to make a conscious choice to not affiliate with the evil, and like choose the love.
There's that Native American proverb about the two wolves that live inside of us too. Yeah. I think I don't know exactly, but like the grandpa's telling his son too, there's two wolves that live inside of us and everything, and they'll grow bigger and stronger. And he's like, well, how do you know which one wins? And he said, it's the one that you feed. And that's like, same idea. If you keep going in the direction of like light decisions and what it's like
good versus bad.
Yeah,
so to speak.
yeah. But then again, you're objectified. Like,
leading by example too, though, because to a certain extent, everyone is a follower, you know, like some of us are like at heart born leaders and really might not be followers, but that's like a couple % of us, you know, like that's why it takes those people that are the born leaders to be strong and to take the wheel and to be the captain of the ship and make those choices. Because a lot of people are, their karmic debt is so wrapped up. They've had so much trauma from their childhood. They've had so many things that they have to work through that they're lost, and they need a leader. They need a captain.
Look how many people still wear masks.
Granted, I was just going to say fear.
Yeah,
fear.
we live in Oregon, like very liberal state and everything, but like you saw a lot less people wearing them once like the mandates were lifted. You're like, oh, now I won't get in trouble, you know. But like most of us, I know the four of us especially, like haven't been wearing them for the longest fucking time. We're like, no, like fuck you. Yeah. Actually pushing back. But then once the mandate got lifted, it's like less people wore them. But there's still people out there that wear them. I'm like, dude, how like much of a fucking follower are you that you're just like, you got to be blinders on, like locked into whatever.
At the track.
No,
vibrating
kids,
so
a
low.
kid running. With
Oh
the mask
yeah.
No, what about the people who are sick and they don't want to spread it?
But
No, I mean, at one point,
3 years ago, people weren't wearing fucking
I would
masks.
say, yeah.
No, I get that. I completely. Well,
we've had
Chinese people were.
because
Not
they're
all
in a
of them.
communist dictatorship, though. We've had like so many more like H1N1, so many more severe things.
Yeah,
that
so
kill
when
so
swine
many
flu came
people,
out and all that shit.
we never had anything like this. It's because we're like literally on the cusp of like we're literally like in the air. We're like ascending, like literally through like the universe is like sending more energy to us. Everyone's
Jackson,
getting more aware.
Let me ask, I asked this to Jordan and Ryan and Cash last week about the awakening ones. Are we really waking up? Do you think that we're waking up?
Everyone is realizing who they truly are and what they truly are. Is how I view it. We're starting to shed our bad layers of ourselves. We're starting to. I mean, we're here in 3D. How I see it, because it's a ploy. It teaches you about the things that we aren't. Almost like everything's separation when really everyone is one. We're all a human collective consciousness experiencing consciousness. Like we're all.
Does that make us God?
All collectively, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would think so. I mean, if everything is one, then you're part of
Okay.
God. I mean, I am, like how I view it, everything is vibration. So like this table, it's vibrating at a certain, like the molecules in this table are conscious enough to know that with the heat and the pressure and the temperature in this room, that it needs to vibrate at this specific vibration to maintain this form. Until I heat it up, it might melt. It's aware enough to know that its surroundings will.
So it's literally intelligent.
Yeah, it's aware. Same with the air. The air gives your lung, it knows when you breathe in to go into your bronchioles or whatever to give you the oxygen that you need. Like every molecular consciousness is real, how I see it. Like if there's a big thing, it's like I can't remember what it's called. Like when you view an electron, it'll act completely different versus when it's not being observed.
Oh yeah.
Actually, somebody was telling me about that a couple months ago.
Like us, like when a tree falls in the wood, does it make a noise if no one's around? Like no one perceived, but there is probably something perceiving it because everything's conscious. How I look at it, like
so the trees are alive.
Exactly.
You ever been out in the woods on mushrooms?
Quite a few times.
Like all that shit's alive, dude.
Yeah, no.
But for real, like you do like connect with some of those on a stronger level. Like I went out up in Blue Pool one time when I was tripping, and like you can tell that's just like sacred ground. It's fucking beautiful the way it is created and
Pristine.
everything. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Like this is some spiritually supercharged, God created like beautiful divinity that just exists.
Plants are intelligent.
Oh yeah, look at fungi.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's not a plant, but like they're a whole species of their own. And I know you know a lot more on this shit than I do, but like we could go in on those.
Plants and fungus are they're so symbiotic too, though. Like they're so intelligent. Like with trees and with fungus, funguses are underground, you know, and like the mushroom is like the fruit to the tree. So like when an apple pops up on the tree, that's like the mushroom popping up out of the ground. The whole tree is just underground. But when they're like the roots and the mycorrhizal networks like touch each other, like the tree roots know like, okay, I got sugars, I got carbohydrates, like I can exchange that, but I can't get the inorganic nutrients like nitrogen, like phosphorus, like sulfur, but the mushrooms can get that. And so they literally have a symbiotic relationship underground to help each other.
Trading.
Yeah, they're trading off because that's how they both, why would they want to fuck each other over?
Yeah.
Because
Like, and they're both living. It's
Yeah.
either both live or neither live.
Exactly. They can help each other, or like, and like with everything, like it's like you said earlier, like energy cannot be created nor destroyed, just like recycled. Like when you see mushrooms, like big old mushrooms growing on trees, it's because they're dead and they're sucking the life out of it, but they're recycling it.
Because the tree's dead?
The tree's dead and the mushroom
mushroom's
will
living?
keep getting bigger and bigger because it's just kind of sucking the life out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's
keeping it
transforming.
going, though.
Wow.
It'll keep it going. It'll spread its spores and then...
Wow.
Mushrooms are insane. There's I can't remember what it's called, but there's a documentary on Netflix.
Fantastic Fungi.
Is that it? Yeah.
Paul Stamets.
Yeah, dude, it's insane. Like, and Paul Stamets is a smart fucking dude too, but like, they're, I don't know, they're just very interesting creatures, life forces, whatever you want to call them.
Is that something that you would recommend to somebody who's never tried any psychedelics at all?
Psychedelic mushrooms?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd say.
Oh, wait, isn't that what we're talking about?
Well, I was talking about fungi in
Just
general.
salad shit, just salad mushrooms.
Well, I mean, there's a shit ton of mushrooms.
No, yeah. So
But
psychedelics, from a psychedelic standpoint, because I've never tried any of them. Never acid, never DMT, never mushrooms, never any of that shit. Never meth, crack, no shit.
Definitely don't do meth or crack. You're not going to get any enlightenment.
Would you guys recommend mushrooms, or what would you recommend if somebody was starting off DMT, acid, or mushrooms?
Mushrooms.
Start
with the microdose.
Yeah, I'd say mushrooms, but like, as the more, start with the microdose, definitely, if you're not ready to go for it.
So is that what you're supposed to do? I sure the fuck didn't.
But I mean,
the first time I did, I think I split an eighth with some of my buddies.
Yeah.
This sounds about right.
I was like 19 or 20, but it's like the wooden textures on the chairs. I was at my mom, if you're watching this, sorry.
We love you still.
Yesterday was her birthday too. I love you.
Happy birthday.
But the first time I did, I was at my mom's house with two of my buddies, and she was out of town. So it's like, I knew she was gonna be gone for a couple of days. We weren't worried about anything. We were just sitting there chilling. But like seeing the wood on the chairs in my mom's kitchen, like moving and warping and everything, like not at all what you think it's gonna be. Like you hear stories, people like, oh, there's dragons flying across the. It's not like that. No, it's just like this reality is just very warped and everything too. It's like, I think of the glasses that Nicolas Cage is wearing in National Treasure that have like the different color frames. Have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah.
And it's like it's kind of like that, where it removes certain layers and everything, and you're a lot more tuned to like the frequency and everything. Or if you've ever zoned out at one thing for a very long time, and the fractal's kind of like yeah. So I'd say like mushrooms are very much like that. If you're curious and you want to adventure, like you could definitely start with like a half an eighth or an eighth or whatever. But for anybody that's
couple points,
like, if anybody,
but I also think you need to be in the right mind frame for it,
setting or everything.
You can have a bad trip. I've had a bad trip, 2 of them.
I never have.
But is a bad trip, is it you perceiving it as a bad trip, or is it you have to face yourself kind of, and you're not ready for that?
Well, all right, one of those was not a bad trip. I seen like skin falling off my cousin's skeleton, just down to the skeleton.
What? Are you sure you're taking mushrooms?
Yep.
Damn.
And
like some fucking salvia.
And then the other one was I was just fucked up for too long.
Yeah.
It was high. I mean, it's typical. I mean, everything's moving. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that one it was hitting too hard.
Yeah. Well, and there's times like I've had it where I'm like, oh, it's coming on strong when you got to breathe your way through that. Because like with mushrooms or acid, it's so much longer. It's like my description is like, it's like getting on a bus where you can't get off the bus. So you might as well look out the windows and enjoy the ride, because you're going to be on there for a little while. Yeah. And then if you start like getting all panicky, that mindset is going to continue to fuck with the experience itself. And so you got to like kind of get back in control and be like, I know I'm not exactly in control, but I can at least like recenter and focus myself. But
I signed up for this.
Yeah, exactly. Like even if you didn't know what you were getting into, you knew you were getting into something, so you got to kind of just breathe your way through it and like just work it out. I've never had a very like bad experience, like I said, knock on wood, but I think you can learn out of pretty much anything. I had one that was pretty weird. I was in downtown Spokane with one of my good buddies, and we went to take a break and go into the mall, so we go to the bathroom, and there was some dude that was like shooting up in there, and then he fell over and like shit himself and everything. It's like, God. What the fuck? Like, I don't want to experience this.
Not great.
I got out of there and like I could feel my heart racing and everything, but I just went outside and was like, that was wild. I just went back about like,
we're done now though.
Yeah.
Well, I think being spiritual will be a huge difference too.
Yep.
Going into it.
Yep.
With a different mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, because every time I've done them, it's just to get fucked up. It was nothing.
That's very different.
I didn't know they were spiritual until I took too many one time.
Yeah. Is that when you had like the half ounce or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had not a great time, but I still learn from it every day. I still try to take something from it because it just showed me a lot. It checked my ego really hard. Like literally a part of me died that day that I don't need to be. Wow. And I'm happy about it. I used to think I knew everything about mushrooms because I was like, yeah, man. Okay. you can take 5 grams. This is what your trip's going to be like. I know, because I've done it. It's going to be just like this. 10 grams. Oh yeah, man, I know. I've done it. This is what it's going to be like. Like my wisdom. Like, I was reading about this the other day when Lucifer got cast down to hell. His wisdom turned into splendor.
What's splendor?
It's when you glorify yourself, really. It's like he was so wise that he started to glorify himself. He started to think that he was just as wise as God, and that he knew.
So basically like a hyperinflation of the ego.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he got checked.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened to me. I got checked, and I really was like, I wasn't ready for that, but I needed it. They gave me what I needed to have.
Well, like we've talked about before too, sometimes you could do like 1.5 grams, 2 grams. That'll slap you harder in the face than like 5 grams have.
Yeah.
Because of, I mean, for one, what's in your stomach? Did you fast? Did you have a lot of food in you? Yeah. What was your intent behind it? Where's your headspace at going into it and everything? Were you being egotistical? Like, I'm going to go get fucked up on some mushrooms. You're like, I'm going to go in the woods and like learn whatever they want to communicate with me and everything like that, which give you 2 totally different experiences.
Who would be they though? I mean, what is that? Are we talking about spirituality?
Like the entities that
beings that you interact with.
Yeah. And I know it sounds crazy because it's like, for someone that's never done it, you could very much. Also, I love the fact that we started on spirituality and religion, and now we're into mushrooms and psychedelics.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah, they very much go hand in hand.
It's a guide.
But I feel like for someone that's never done it, they could be like, "Oh, you're tripping on drugs," and it's like, well, yeah, but like you don't get it because it's not like you're sitting there like. No one's ever like gone on mushrooms and wanted to go like fucking start a war, you know? But if you see people in the streets of San Francisco or Portland that are shooting up heroin or smoking crack and everything, that's a lot different than like, you know, myself or anybody else looked laying in a field or sitting by a waterfall with some mushrooms and everything. It's like, it's just a very different experience. And I could try to describe it in 100 different ways, whether it's with mushrooms or acid or DMT or whatever, but the only way to truly understand it is to experience it.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
I think a big way that I try to think of it, like when you're seeing all the wavy stuff and everything, like that is just our reality. It's just our senses only perceive 5% of the light spectrum. Yeah. There's 95% of everything going on around us right now. There's probably so many things here with us right now, flying around, buzzing around. We just can't perceive it.
Do you think that's alternate dimensions?
I just think it's the light spectrum.
Yeah.
Because like it's Roy G. Biv, that's like only like 0 nanometers to like 1,000 nanometers worth of the light spectrum, and it goes down to like 10 to the negative 10th, 10 to the 10th, like 10 to the 10th. That's like your big rays, like radio waves and stuff that are like big, huge oscillating waves. But there's like 10 to the negative 10th, like your gamma rays that are just like if you take too many of those in, you get burnt. You know, your skin gets burnt. Like, but you can't see those rays coming into you. But
so when we talk about taking in more light and ascending and everything too, do you think that's part of it? Like we're moving towards like higher frequencies as far as what we hold inside of us, the rays that we have?
I think so. I think that like over time, like the sun is going to start shining, like it's going to start emitting more light because it's trying to, like, we are light bodies, you know, we need like light code. You can get light codes and stuff from the light. And like, it's just trying to help wake you up because light's conscious. Everything's light. Energy equals MC squared. It's just mass times the speed of light.
Yeah.
Like light is everything. It's just energy.
What were you starting to say?
I don't remember.
Fuck.
But you know, that's a thing too that I've been trying to realize. Like I have all these thoughts and I feel very confident about them, but I could be completely and totally wrong.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you can confidently state something knowing full well that like, you know, I feel this way about it, but I'm totally open to being wrong and everything too. And I think that's a good principle to carry with you wherever. I've done like basically just humbling yourself. I've done that with life lessons. I've done that with coaching, with whatever, because it's like you really don't know it all and you never will. And it's good to be confident about something. Like I said, I'll bring it back to coaching. Cocky. Yeah, but like I know more now than I did 3 years ago, or the more psychedelic experiences I've had. I feel like I know more than when I started, but it's like there's always something new out there.
Well, life is all about the learning curve anyways. We're all
this is just a big school.
Curve. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a big school. Shout out to Dolores Cannon too. If you don't know her, look her up.
Yeah. She's got some really good shit.
I think the biggest tool for mushrooms is that they can just check your ego. Because everyone needs that sometimes, man. Some people can just get, it can absorb you, it can take over you. You can get so unattached from who you are at the root of your being and just a pure ball of love and light, you know?
Yeah.
And you can just you can harden, you can get calloused by like the 40-hour work week. You can like turn into a grunt. Your body hurts all the time. All you're in is pain and pain sucks, but you don't have to suffer.
Yeah.
Well, how do you get people who don't want to take mushrooms? How would you approach them to get them to experience it?
Hold them down and put it in their mouth. No, I'm just playing.
I mean, is that something you would advocate for? Is trying to get?
I don't think everybody needs to try it, but I definitely think I'm from the viewpoint, and again, because everything is perspective, really, but I would say almost everything, because like obviously not like heroin or like dumb shit.
Yeah.
But like
bath salts.
Yeah.
Well, have you
everything
tried it?
is worth. Everything I feel like is worth trying at least like once. As far as what you feel called to, like I said, I would never do crack or anything like that. But it's like if you basically follow your intuition, if you feel called towards it, if you feel called towards the Bible, if you feel called towards trying out mushrooms, if you feel called towards it and everything, and you can sit with it and just spend 10 to 15 minutes with intention to just sit there quietly and be like, and listen to whatever is being downloaded to you and told to you. And if you feel in your heart that like that's something that can help you and everything. Now it's tough because 15 minutes might not be enough to differentiate from your ego and your higher self. But if you feel like in your heart and your higher self are genuinely guiding you towards that, then go with that. And maybe that's too long of an answer, but basically trust your heart.
Are you meditating in that 15 minutes, or are you just sitting there in silence and just wherever it goes?
What's the difference?
I would say,
I don't know.
I would say
There's a
sitting
lot
there in
that I don't
silence
know.
is like meditating.
I don't know shit.
Yeah, no, it's a good question because a lot of people don't know what meditation even is. They assume there's a rule behind meditation. Meditation can be working meditation. I meditate when I work.
Yeah, I've gone on walks from like I just need to clear my mind.
Yoga.
I'll just go walk down like to the end of the block and back or something. Don't make sure I don't have my phone on me. Nothing. Just go walk.
Yeah.
And like that's good to just kind of get your brain to move and everything too. But there's also I think some good power in stillness speaks. And being able to sit there, and that's probably one of the most, especially if you're new to it, the most challenging forms of meditation is being able to sit there and just like bring it back to your breath. Just bring it back to your breath. And then you could dive into different types of breathing practices. My buddy JC knows a lot on that shit. I know you know some stuff too. And I've worked with different things, but it's like there's a lot of different ways to approach that. But
I just saw a funny meme today. It was like up top, it's like the crazy phenomena that's been developing for thousands of years called the hyper super ego, and then it's like sitting there in silence and it just is like destroyed. It's like that's all you gotta do is sit there in silence and observe.
Yeah.
And you can conquer it.
Yeah. And that's another thing is that so many things in the modern world that we live in try to pull from you. They pull from you in this direction or that because your energy and your time are your only real currencies. Everything else comes and goes, but how you spend that, you don't get back. So, whether it's social media trying to pull your energy from you, whether it's porn, whether it's video games, whatever it is that's pulling that away from you and everything too, is making you less present. Because you could ask all three of you, could ask any person that you talk to or communicate with normally too, is when's the last time you intentionally sat for even 5, let alone 10, 15 minutes and did nothing? Because we live in a world, in a society where it's like, go.
Do you think that's by design? Do you think the government puts us in cities
Fuck
that are hectic as crap and
have you ever seen
so many things going on just
look
to
at
pull us out?
an overview of a city and an overview of like a computer microchip? It looks the fucking same.
Yeah.
You ever seen those like side by side comparisons? It's like energy harvesting. I would fucking hate myself if I lived, maybe not myself, but my life, if I lived in like New York, the heart of like San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago. That shit would suck.
It's already too busy here for me.
Yeah.
It's like been blowing up way too much.
Yeah. Well, and like the political stuff aside, I love where we live. Like Eugene's beautiful.
So beautiful.
It's
got the coast an hour away. You can go ski an hour away.
I say we're very central. I can go to the coast and back in a day trip. I could go up the Mackenzie River and back in a day trip.
Yeah.
It's like that's
Portland,
really cool.
If you wanted to go do that.
What?
Said Portland if you wanted to go there.
Yeah, if you wanted to, yeah. But again, like if you want connection to the city, that's an hour and a half, 2 hours north.
Yeah,
exactly. Like it's nice being this central. I forgot the point of even saying. Oh, just because like being in a big city, that's too much.
Stripping you of your energy.
Yeah. Well, those things will, like I said, they'll pull from you in any which way possible. Like I know
the people, energy vampires.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And some people are
powerful.
unintentional with that, but some people like they don't even realize it. And they're just like pull from. How many times have you been in a conversation where it's like, I really need to get the fuck out of this?
Yeah.
And they kind of like just follow you along. You're like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
But
If you're not emitting your own frequency, you're taking someone else's in. If you're not like consciously making the effort to emit your own good high vibrations, then you're going to be soaking up everyone else's around you, even if you don't think it. This is a crazy one. I actually had this happen to me. One time I was meditating at my house, I was in my meditation for like 2.5 hours. I just was in a really deep meditation.
Are you sober?
Uh-huh. I was on the couch. Well, I kind of woke up, sat there for 30 minutes, and then it was kind of like a sleep meditation. But like in my meditation, we were going to go to my friend's beach house, and he told me the address of the beach house. And as I woke up, he was coming to do that to me. And I woke up and I'm like, the address to your beach house is whatever. He's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, yeah, you just told me, dude.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like real shit that happened to me.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I don't know if I moved forward in time. I don't know if I witnessed something, if I was just observing, it happened though, like, cause I literally it happened and I literally knew I didn't know it and I brought it into the physical and it was right. It was correct.
It's like when Neo comes out in the Matrix, he's like, I know Kung Fu.
Yeah.
I know your address.
I was like, what the hell? That's what I got out of my 2.5 hour meditation. Just an address.
Now, what about deja vu?
What about it?
I mean, is that?
I read stuff that says like, what if it's where like you died in a different like timeline? So this is where you're restarting and everything.
Yeah,
what is deja vu? Is it when you experience something that you already think you experienced?
Yeah.
There's an opposite of that too. It's called like antes vu or something like that.
I've not heard of it.
I hit the Google machine.
Yeah, I hit the opposite of deja vu. I can't remember what it's called.
Have you had deja vu?
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a regular thing?
Throughout a year, I'd say probably about 6 times.
Wow.
Jameis? I don't know how you pronounce
Jameis
it.
vu.
Jameis vu is a phenomenon operationalized as the opposite of deja vu, finding subjectively unfamiliar something that we know to be familiar.
Yeah, so like when you do something every day and all of a sudden it seems like this is the first time I think I've done this. I feel like that would be like kind of jumping timelines almost.
Yeah.
Feeling like you've already done it?
Feeling like you
should know how to
coach
do it,
people
but
in
you don't.
boxing every day and then you go to boxing one day and you're like, is this like the first time I've done this?
Yeah.
That'd be weird as shit.
That would be weird.
That's interesting. There's so many options. There's so many potentials. That's
Right.
the thing.
Yeah, it's a trip.
So this is kind of diverging too, but if we think about different timelines and everything too, and we talk about the firmament over the flat Earth and everything, what do we think if there's other planets? Or are there other planets? If the Earth is flat, is every planet flat? Or is there round planets?
Well, I mean, you can look in a telescope and see like Jupiter and Mars and know that they're round, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever looked in a telescope?
All I've seen is at the moon. I had like a cheaper one. When I was in
you can look at the rings around Jupiter. You can see all that shit. It's very small. Mm-hmm. It depends on your telescope, of course, but it's really interesting because stars are not fucking. They're like electronic little electrodes.
Big balls of gas and fire.
Yeah, but they just look like they're just buzzing around. You zoom into a star and it's like this little buzzing around thing. It doesn't look like a star like you see in pictures.
Yeah.
But when you look at planets, they're round. You can see that they're round.
Wouldn't that mean Earth is round?
A flat circle is round.
I was going to say that.
That's the thing. You see two-dimensionally. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now, if you got the right telescope, you can kind of make out how the rings go around it, so it looks like there's a dimension. You know, it looks circular, but you can't tell by just looking at it at the flat visual. It's interesting.
But, I mean, where do the rings go?
Around it.
Around it, apparently, yeah.
Right? So,
yeah.
I mean,
So it must be round.
globe.
It must be. But that doesn't take away. I think flat earthers believe in this is a very blessed place, and that's why it's flat. That's why it's different than other planets. And you see other planets as globes and whatever, but Earth was specifically made for a specific reason by a creator, and that's why Earth is considered to be flat.
What do you think the moon is?
I was about to say, is it weird that we only see half the moon? We don't see the whole side of the moon.
The back side of it?
Yeah, like we only see one side of the moon all the time, supposedly.
Yeah.
But what's up with that? How come the moon's not rotating like the Earth is?
I've seen stuff that says...
there's bases on the backside of the moon.
Well, and that the moon is a created thing. Yeah, it's like
made.
It's not natural
Like
like
the
the
Death
sun
Star?
or whatever. Yeah, straight up. And it's like a
It's hollow.
honeycomb.
It's hollow.
Honeycomb.
Yeah. I mean, they put something on it and they said it like a bell, like it rung for hours.
Wait, what do you mean?
They hit the moon. They hit the moon with something. I don't know if you Do you guys know anything about that? Oh, I wish you had your computer. They literally sent up, I think it was probably some sort of atomic bomb, or maybe it was a satellite that it just dropped. They allowed it to drop onto the moon, and it literally rung like a bell for hours.
That's interesting.
That's hollow. That makes it hollow.
Yeah.
On November 20th, 1969, Apollo 12 deliberately crashed the ascent stage of its lunar module onto the moon's surface. NASA reported that the moon, quote unquote, rang like a bell for almost an hour, leading to arguments that it must be hollow like a bell.
Okay, so I was wrong about hours, but it was for an hour.
Still,
Rung like a bell.
Yeah.
You ever heard the theory that the Earth is like there's inner Earth?
Oh yeah,
because you're not allowed to fly over the North or South Pole. They're like no fly zones.
See, that's what I was trying to explain to these guys. There's no fly zones, and
It's-
it's
We
like,
talked about that was more
last
so explaining to me.
Okay.
Because I think you were on that, right?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
yeah. Well, I was explaining that how weird it was that there's no fly zones.
We talked
I
about
find it weird too, but
Talked about the ice wall. Sorry.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, we talked about the ice wall in the last episode and everything too, and like the North Pole Treaty and everything too, and that shit from back in like 1940s, like Nazi Germany and everything. Why there's like a completely neutral space there.
Admiral Byrd.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what I was gonna talk about. Have you read his book?
Yeah, get a little closer to you, Mike.
Yeah, his book. It's that stuff's crazy. He literally gets taken in there, and like he's flying his plane in there, and then he's not flying his plane. Like someone is
gets
like,
powered,
pulled.
pulled.
Someone's flying his plane
Wait,
for him.
what?
You've
You
never
have to
heard
read
of
it, dude.
Admiral Byrd?
Trippy.
Yeah,
And he comes
who
with
is Admiral
into with beings in there that are like have been in there for
ranking military guy.
yeah.
From what era?
It's like 50s.
When they were
70s
looking,
probably.
when they were going to Antarctica to find the.
Is this like with isn't it High Jump? Is the
I
Antarctic
think
one?
maybe it was
Was
that.
it Operation
not sure.
Mockingbird?
Mockingbird's the media, like
Oh,
CIA.
okay.
And
Okay.
the media
I
and
just
shit.
from what I read though, he gets in there and he's talking to him, and they've been there for thousands of years or a long time
Been where?
in inner
inner
Earth,
Earth.
because you can go inside of Earth. Like when you it's convex, you get up there and it cones in. You can go
And it has
inside
its own
of it.
ecosystem. and
It's like
everything.
way more evolved than us, but they haven't come out because
All the dumb shit we're
because
doing.
they don't want to.
Because we're
Yeah,
fucking
because
humans.
they don't want to. Yeah,
They want
just
us to
like-
evolve.
Are
Properly.
they humans though? Are they like a?
I'm not-
Advance something.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that. Who knows if it's even real, right?
Yeah, well,
But yeah, I
Look
suppose
up
they-
Admiral Byrd, though. Both of you guys. It's
Yeah.
very interesting because he's not a
book.
Looney Tune. He's not a kook. He was a military man.
Yeah, it's real flight
Well,
records.
doesn't
there's real
necessarily
flight
mean he
records
isn't.
for it.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But
Maybe he
look
just
it up.
fucking went off the deep end one time and just.
I mean, you should approach everything with a bit of skepticism,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But it's like it's very interesting what you can find when you start diving into shit.
Yeah.
And what you, the more evidence that
Well-
you find and everything, and especially if it's like you said, it's published military record and everything like that. It's
Yeah.
like what the fuck?
Well,
I think-
I've been go ahead.
I think approaching yourself or approaching things with skepticism can, like for me, I do that a lot. And it keeps me from forming my own opinion about things.
Do you feel that as a negative thing?
Yes.
Why?
Because here I
don't have
am,
an opinion.
I don't have an opinion.
Why do you need
Because
to be
it-
opinionated?
Well, I mean, if you're sitting here asking me about spirituality and religion, I researched both of them, approached both of them with skepticism. Now I can't form an opinion because
you
I don't know.
But isn't that maybe a good thing, because then you're not attaching to an idea and letting it control you?
Could be. But I mean, what if
You're
he
looking
wants
at it
to?
from negative, but
What if he wants to form an opinion?
Yeah,
on something too.
then form an opinion.
But then it
Start
again
to love
goes
it.
back to I don't know because I'm skeptical.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean? So it's
Well,
just
and that's where
fucking
following
constant
your
battle.
heart,
Yeah.
like what Ryan said, is what is really going to lead you to where the answers you want. That's what it comes down to, is really following your heart, I think, when it comes to anything. I've been watching a lot of, I don't know, what'd you do? Oh, yeah. Fucking some crazy motherfuckers. I've been watching on, you know how you just get pulled into weird shit on YouTube?
Oh, yeah.
So I've been watching these people that cave. They get in these caves. Cave,
climbing
not
in 'em?
cave dive. Yeah, it's like literally like getting
I would
in
freak
these
the fuck out, dude.
claustrophobic, just pulling. I mean, I've
Imagine
literally
you can't
died.
go backwards.
I've done that stuff.
No shit.
Dude, it's insane. People
Bend.
are fucking insane. But my point is there's so many caves and openings underneath our planet. You think of this as like a solid, like held together. Fuck. Who's to say there's not an inner Earth?
Have you ever
Because there's
seen
so
that-
many access points.
That
right?
hole in, I think it's in Siberia, in Russia or whatever. that's like supposedly a hole to hell or something. They have screams from it and everything.
Like, where they've put down microphones.
Like long
that's
microphones
insane.
and everything. Yeah,
Would you try to go down there?
Huh?
Would you try to go down there?
Fuck no.
What if that's to the center of the earth?
I'll find another entrance.
Hey, I saw YouTube where a guy was testing out phones. He was doing just testing out phones. He put his drone into a hole. I think it may have been Arizona, where he flew it down into water and it sunk way down. Nothing on the first one. He did it again, and there was like sounds like screams and noises.
In the water?
In the water, inside the water. It was creepy. It was creepy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shit out there, man.
Oh, yeah.
Here comes the skepticism, though. I mean, that screams that could be added in afterwards.
Well, yeah, and that's when you're looking at any type of like ghosts, UFO, any of that shit, it's like, okay, is this CGI? Is this added? Is this real? My chair is squeaking.
That's how I'm hearing it.
But it's good to be skeptic, of course, on anything and everything, really. But you also you should also have an open mind that this could be like, okay, well,
could be real.
Yeah.
You guys ever heard of egg theory?
Oh, the Earth?
Yeah, like we're in a big cosmic egg.
Yeah.
Like you got like your liquid water at the bottom, and then it evaporates, and we're swimming in like gaseous water right now until it rises up, and it gets to a certain pressure where it can turn into liquid or solid again, and it comes down, and
like rain.
We're just in a big
recycles.
Yeah,
So
but we're in it. And we're swimming in water right now, but it's just in gas stage.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it has to like it doesn't. We have a lithosphere and all the spheres up top, so it can't leave. So it kind of makes sense. But
with the globe aspect of it, the dome.
Yeah. Firmament.
That's it. All intriguing.
Yeah.
It is.
And the problem is you don't know.
I'd say you can dive in on this shit as much as you want and everything, but I don't know if you'll ever really know.
Well,
maybe you die.
Yeah,
I get to know it all now.
I watched a YouTube video one time where these
or you don't.
these amateur rocket people, they had the amateur rockets. They go out in the desert. And shoot them up. He wasn't a flat earther, but he became a flat earther because he shot his. Actually, he probably was. He was trying to see where the curve was at. So he shot this rocket up in the air. And it was going, because you can see the GoPro at the bottom of it. You could see it going up. It didn't show down. It did show down because they wanted to see where it flattened out. So it wasn't showing up. But you can see the rocket, it's going up, and then all of a sudden just punk, literally fucking hits something. Literally hits something and stops and falls back down. Out in the fucking desert. Nothing out there. You can literally hear it go, and then it fucking falls.
Was it in, what's it called, Skinwalker Ranch?
May have been.
Because I know there's some sus shit with Skinwalker Ranch.
I watch a lot. There's some weird shit out there.
That place is fucking weird.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe there's only certain spots, like that's why they launch everything out of like Cape Canaveral? Because there's only certain spots they can get through.
I don't even know where that is.
It's in Florida.
They launch like rockets out of there and shit?
It's like where NASA's at, and it's where like
the
SpaceX
trajectory
is at.
has to be.
Fuck
they
NASA.
Call it.
I don't trust a lot of shit from NASA.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen I went to Florida one time and I watched when there's rockets launched.
Oh
it's
shit! Really?
Pretty crazy, but I wonder if they only do it, out of like certain spots.
Maybe there's an opening there.
Certain places they can get through the spheres or the lid or firmament, whatever you want to call it.
I think. Well, when we talk about like the Simpsons predicting a lot of shit, like coronavirus, Trump presidency, and everything. The whole Simpsons movie is that fucking big ass dome being placed over Springfield.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't know. There's another one.
Springfield too.
Yeah. I don't know.
Now, most flat earthers, well, I mean, I can't really say that. So flat earthers get a perception that they're just tinfoil hats. They don't have an educational background, right? You see what I'm saying? You understand?
Like you're typically looked at as crazy.
Yes.
But, yeah.
So coming from somebody, or I'm not sure if did you graduate as well?
College?
Yeah.
No.
Or, I mean, you go to college and all that. So, I mean, right?
Yeah.
Being educated and then, knowing all the stuff that was taught in school to understand that the earth is round and all that. At what point did you change your mind? And
shit, mine's only been within the last 2 years probably.
And what was the reason behind that?
Jordan Nelson sending me memes. No, I mean, a lot of shit. Like I'd have to pull up specifics on my phone and everything like that, but just collectively what I've seen, and I'm not a good person to necessarily argue it. Mm-hmm. I have my belief in everything, and I have the stuff that I've seen that makes me believe that. But as far as being able to pull this fact out of my head and everything with it, I'm not a good person for as far as this subject.
Yeah.
Well, my thing was, and I'm not necessarily a flat earther. I know that it's not what NASA says it is, and that's the problem right there. Is NASA? Why lie? Why put out fake shit? Why put out green screen shit? Why put out CGI pictures? Why? That does society nothing.
No, this is probably the equivalent of me being skeptical about religion.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, is the flat Earth part?
Yeah, just there being questions about the, with Jordan sending you memes. And shit.
Well, and again,
it just raises questions.
Many cultures and many cultures, like we talked about last time, across the planet, whether the planet is a globe or not, have the same model from thousands of years. Of course, that's before technology.
I just had a thought. It's funny that it's like a flat Earth thing. Like, it's like there's so much information on the internet nowadays. It's like we pick and choose what we want to believe in. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't flat Earth, what if it was never flat Earth? What if it was a square Earth? We'd have square Earthers because they saw that information, they attached to the thought. Yeah. Because they chose to. Like, there could be fucking rectangle Earthers if that's the information they provided us. Mm-hmm. There's no, why is it flat Earth? It's like, why did they choose that? Is it really true, or is it just trying to throw us off? It's like,
and that's people think that's a psyop too, where it's like,
and also tinfoil hats actually do work. They literally do block they literally do work. To actually look it up.
They block what? Like electromagnetic frequencies?
Yeah, it's a metal. It's a non-conductive metal, I think, so it can
we should do the next episode with all of us on time. Someone's gonna watch what the fuck?
Yeah, I got a spinner on mine.
Mine's gonna be a boat, Viking ship.
But who knows what I just said could be bullshit. I just read on the internet and chose to attach my thought to.
Yeah,
because that's all it is. You're choosing to believe it.
Well, I had read something too that was like, it was by the same account that posts the Great Awakening map on Instagram. Everything, which is like 5D awakening consciousness, I think. Basically said everything we're taught, like a lot of the math, the physics, the science, all that shit is wrong, and it's intentionally done that way so that we only
discover so much.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, we'd be on to anti-gravity shit
to keep the awakening from happening.
Yeah,
correct?
Exactly. But it's inevitable.
Yep.
I feel like with the shift that we're at and everything, there's like Bob Lazar talked about when he was he in Area 51 or wherever he was working specifically? Yeah, It was Area 51. Talked about the object that they had in front of him that him and a couple of their scientists had to work on and everything, and they gave each person in a separate room or whatever a different kind of piece of that way they couldn't put their information together, but they had to report it to higher ups. It's trying to keep everyone knowing as little as possible. Mm-hmm. But to have that kind of technology in front of you and everything and know that that's real, it's fuck, man. What else is out there?
Yeah.
And he said there was one part where the hangar opened up and he looked down and as far as he could see, I think he saw 4 or 5 different UFOs and everything, all different shape, different looking. It's
wow.
But if we're in a firmament, where the fuck does that come from?
Yeah. The water.
They probably don't.
And out.
Probably outer, not in this dimension.
Yeah.
Time is just bound by 3D. Time and space bound each other. So if you're outside this dimension,
like a wormhole.
Yeah, think about it as 3D. It's like a timeline. It's all played out. If you're in 4D, this is how I think of it, at least, could be wrong.
Yeah.
If you're in 4D, you could be I want to go to the 1800s. Whoop, I'm going to go here. I want to go to 2300. Whoop, it's right here. It's already all played out. It's a one timeline. Time's already all played out in 3D.
So you're time hopping how?
How? Is that what you said?
Yeah, with just light speed travel?
Probably.
Gravity.
I don't know how, but assuming that time and space are bound here and that time probably played out and there's parallel timelines playing out all the time, if you're a dimension above it, time doesn't bound you, then you probably can
you can dip back down
to lower
through
dimensions. Whatever times you want, I would think.
Because we're defined by time. Our dimension is almost defined by time.
Yeah.
So if you're outside of time, then there's no bounds.
You can go to think about things that you can't rationalize in your own head.
Yeah. What if we didn't know anything about time?
And that's another dimension below us.
Sun up to sun down would probably be our measurement of time.
Yeah. Well, and all we know from a human perspective is we're born, we die. We born, we live, we die.
Have you seen Westworld? TV
Is
show?
that the one with like that's about the president?
No, it's
That's
like
West Wing. Never mind. We had to watch that shit in high school, and I was like, "This fucking sucks," but it's better than learning whatever bullshit government stuff we're learning. So
these rich people pay to go into Westworld, and they get to live out and play a game in the Western times. And
like the Wild West.
Yeah, check it out. It's good.